we'll let some people into the room with us.
Hey, that's cool. Good. Good, good, good.
Interesting. There we go.
All right.
Hey, Agnes.
Agnes.
Faithful Agnes.
No kidding.
Hi, Julie. Hi,
Yep.
Nora. Hey, guys, we can't see you. Sorry for just jumping in there and saying hi.
Yep.
You're like, oh my gosh, can you see me? No, I can't see you. You see your
Right.
beautiful name on the
Mhm.
list
Right.
as you're jumping in here. You can see, hopefully you can see me and Larry here on the screen in front of you, Larry from Movement Mortgage. We can't see you, we can't hear you. So the way that you can talk to us, if you haven't joined us before, Agnes, you're a professional, so you know what's going on. You're a Zoom professional. You can put that on your, on your resume now.
Right. Right. Does she have to get that approved by Jillian to put that on her business cards or no?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So you can type anything you would like to share with us in the chat box right now. So we want to know, what do we want to know? Have you ever made a business plan before?
There you go.
That is what I want to know. Have
There
you
you go.
ever written out a business plan before? I just showed you an image of a document that I sent everyone who was pre-registered for this class in your inbox. So Larry would love it if you actually have a printed copy of this in front of you right now. So how about in chat, let us know, did you print this and do you have a copy of this in front of you right now? Say yes or no.
That'll be super helpful as we go through the material because a lot of the stuff can be conceptual as we talk about it. And okay, well, what if? And okay, well, all right, I got to think about that. And okay, and then add that number to what? And okay, yep. If you don't have the packet in front of you, it's gonna be hard to put pen to paper and really kind of make those numbers make sense. So yeah, if you could take just a couple minutes. Find that document that Nikki sent out and just print that real quick. It's in a PDF, so it should print up pretty easily on your computer real quick, and that would be great.
And if for some reason you are not able to print right now, you do have the option of rewatching this later for those of you who may be on a phone right now and you're traveling or whatever you might be doing. We're going to send you out a link to this recording so you will have it, and then you can hopefully print this document out later on, and you can watch this again and put this to practice. Put pen to paper and have yourself a working tool that will bring you to the next level. So we've also printed out several copies of this here at the Vanderbilt office and left them by the copy machine. So if you, for some reason, can't print it out and you don't have that capability, please come in and pick up a copy so that when you get this link and you can rewatch it, you'll be able to walk through the steps and get your personalized plan put together. So hopefully you have that. And if you don't, we can do it later. This is Larry Utterback from Movement Mortgage joining us here in Zoom. And we're glad you're all here. For those, I just saw someone jumped on here. We asked if you could please have your printed copy of this PDF, Planning Your Best Year Ever, in front of you, because that will help you. He's going to actually walk us through this so we can do it and apply it to our businesses right now. And again, you'll get a recording of this so you can print it later or pick up a copy here at the Vanderbilt office. So thank you for joining us. We are going to get right into it. So you're going to be able to talk to us through the chat box. You're going to be able to send some questions to us in the Q&A box. And we will make sure all of those questions get addressed, at least by the end if we don't have time in between here. And then you're going to get a recording of this. Again, we can't see you or hear you. So yeah, get your fingers going if you need to communicate with us and we will make sure we respond. And Agnes says, smile, Larry.
Was closing some nefarious stuff out on my computer that I needed to I had a whole bunch of stuff open and I'm like, I don't want that in there. I got to get rid of it. So I'm here, I'm smiling.
Well, we're glad you're here and we have our packets ready and we are going to plan out our best year ever.
Cool. Awesome. Good. Well, I will jump right in because I know you guys are busy and your time's valuable and I want to honor that. So thank you guys for joining us today. Like Nick said, having that packet in front of you is going to be super helpful because like I said, a lot of this stuff can be kind of like, you know, okay, what the numbers and the this and that. And if you see where I'm going on the packet, you'll be able to write in numbers and do all sorts of stuff there. And again, if you need a packet and you didn't get one or you can't print it, Nikki can get one to you later. So, you know, don't worry about that. But really, why I wanted to present this class is that normally this is an end of year class, right? I mean, it's a October-ish, November-ish. Let's think about what we're going to do for the next year. Like, let's plan our next year. And a lot of people probably did that, right? I mean, I think we probably hosted a class at Premier last year for that. And if you didn't, you probably did some business planning on your own. But my presumption is that a lot of things that you base your business plan in October or November of 2019 did not exactly play out the way you thought it was going to play out in February, March, April, and May of 2020. And so that requires us to shift a little bit, to revisit our plan, to figure out what we thought might work isn't working and how we need to change. The good news is there's still time to make this your best year ever. I mean, we've got a hot marketplace, low inventory, prices are going up. I've heard, just talked to a PPR agent this morning, and she was talking about multiple offers on a property. Again, that wasn't where our mindset was 6 months ago, 4 months ago, right? I mean, we weren't thinking that it would be this kind of a market. Low interest rates, again, it's some economic uncertainty, some civil unrest. How does all that play into it? So I thought that it was very timely that we were going to just do this class again, not to kind of start over, if you will, but just to kind of go, all right, things have probably changed a little bit. Let's dust it off and look at it and just kind of make sure we're doing all the right things and the things that we wanted to do that maybe we have to tweak a little bit differently because of the environment. So with that being said, I'm going to jump in and share my screen like I usually do. I just have to figure out which one it is. It's always confusing. I think it's going to be, no, it is not going. I have to just shut that right off. There you go. See, I was shutting off stuff and there was one thing open still that it was going to want to share. All right, let me go to, why is it saying screen 2 there? Let's try this. Nikki, you have to tell me, are you seeing the best year ever big gray screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I didn't want you to see my calendar or whatever else was popping up. It's always confusing. I'm telling you, people, this is not easy. You're just not born with this talent. I mean, there's a lot, Nikki, right? I mean, you gotta there's stuff you gotta do. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. All right. That being said, here we go. Well, you guys all know me. This is just who I am. If you've been to one of my classes, you've seen this slide before, but this just shows you I'm kind of a real person and I like to do stuff and whatnot. So, and I always point out my wife just because she's an awesome person and I love her. So that's her right there. She's a professional pianist here in Naples and she's loving my life. So anyway, that being said, moving on before I get all mushy and teary. Okay. So why are you still in my spot there? Let me move you up there. Okay, cool. So today we are going to be talking about our income goals, right? Best year ever. We need to know income, right? What we want to do. So we are going to be talking about this, right? What's your why, right? We're going to talk about that. Why do we need it? Do we need a business plan? Right? We're going to talk about our why. What's our why? They always say, what's the why behind the what? And I think it was Simon Sinek that wrote a book called Start With Why. And again, that's kind of a really cool business planning book that you can read. And it talks about setting up things in terms of your why, because that can be a more powerful motivator than just numbers, right? But speaking of numbers, we want to know what our numbers are, okay? And we're going to talk about lead generation, about that, right? And then lastly, we've got tools and resources, right? And then next steps, always, right? Just the beginning. Next steps as far as how we might be able to help you keep moving the boat down the lake as it may be. So I'm just here to help you today. I'll be your host and guide through this. So again, just trust me. I've been down this road before. So anyway, question is, guys, do you need a business plan? I mean, if we were live, I'd say, how many people actually have a business plan? I would probably get maybe about a third of the class that says, yes, I have one. The half of the other third, which would be a sixth, would say, no, I don't. And the other sixth would say, what's a business plan? This is kind of for all audiences. And we will address it from that level. So here's the deal, right? You've heard it said before, most people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. Okay. So I want you to think of this business plan, your business plan, as a GPS, right? A GPS for your career. Because what happens if you go on a trip, right? I mean, we're heading, gonna get out of town for a couple of days here, coming up, and we program in our stops, right, into our phone, into our maps, into Google, and then it goes into our car, and we have directions, right? But let's say you don't have directions, or let's say you're on a plane from LA to New York, and you're a pilot, but none of your instruments work, right? You would have no idea if you're on track, right? You would have no idea if you're going to land or you're going to arrive where you thought you were, right? And odds are you're going to get lost, and you're just going to end up in the Rocky Mountains, and you're going to be like, how did I get here? And where the heck is a Chick-fil-A? So here's the deal. Again, if you guys are used to using your phone, right? I mean, and we all got one of these. I'll hold it up in front of the camera, but I don't think you can see me. But right, we use that, right, every day for simple things like driving and whatnot. Why don't we use it for more? Why don't we use a plan? Why don't we create a plan for something as important as our real estate business, right? Okay, so instead of getting lost and asking for directions or having to stop along the way, or like I said, ending up in the Rocky Mountains, you just reference your plan, right? You go back to your plan and go, okay, where am I? What happened? How am I doing? Am I on track, or have I gotten off track? And do I have to make adjustments needed for the current market, right? Hello. I think that's where we're at right now. Okay. And if you've ever heard your phone or your GPS or whatever it is, make a change, right, on a plan because there's a traffic accident or there's something happening up ahead. It says, what does it say? It says rerouting, right? Rerouting to a better route, or whatever. So that's all we're doing here, right? We want to take a look at that business plan. And again, it's not just specific to June of 2020, right? I mean, again, every year you should be going through your business plan almost on a quarterly basis and just doing a check-in and say, am I keeping up with my goals as I said, as I planned? And so that's all we're doing here is we're kind of taking that 6-month check-in, especially in light of all the differences this year has brought us. Okay, so here's the problem with most people's business plans, and you've probably seen it if you went through high school and college and did had whatever, a careers class and a business planning class and whatever. They were basically written using a template for a corporate business plan, right? I mean, they're 600 pages long, and there's an introductory statement, and there's this statement, and there's a summary, and there's this, and there's an executive thing, and whatever. And I mean, there's marketing statements and strategy statements. Whatever. We don't necessarily need to be like big fancy companies and have all this stuff in our business plan, business statements and declaration of values and all that, right? We just want to keep it simple. Okay. Anybody like keeping stuff simple? I do. And so hopefully you'll see this is very, very simple. And if you printed off that plan, and I know a lot of you guys are speed readers, so you've probably looked through every page already, it's pretty simple. Okay. And that's okay. Because it doesn't need to be complicated. Okay. But here's the real reason why we need to keep things simple in our business plan. And it's because markets change quickly, right? Things change quickly, and business plans written over a 12-month period of time, if they're so structured and so rigid, they don't adapt very easily. Okay. So in today's world, a business plan should be a living, breathing document that can adjust to the market, to new trends, right? Technology. Again, 6 months ago, maybe you were farming or you're working a certain type of property, and all of a sudden something's come on, and maybe there's some, a bunch of builders that are out in your area and they're offering great deals, and maybe that's going to change. That's going to adjust your business plan a little bit, right? And it needs to. So that's why it needs to be simple. Okay. And with that simple plan, with specific actions, we can track, we can measure, we can adjust, everything that we do along the way. Okay. Anybody agree with that? I mean, we got to keep it simple, so that we can make adjustments. Hopefully that makes sense. But the problem is that most people make this too complicated, and a static plan, a plan that they're like, okay, that took me 6 weeks to write. I don't want to see that thing again the rest of the year. That doesn't help anybody, right? And it becomes obsolete very quickly. So here's my belief, right? A business plan, any business plan should answer 3 big questions, right? And here's the big 3 questions. Number 1, what do you want? Okay. Number 2, we're going to talk about how to get it, and number 3, where do you need to improve? Okay. Let me say that again. It should answer what you want, and we're going to talk about that, about not only what you want, but what's the why behind your want, right? And number 2, we're going to talk about how to get what you want. That's going to be your business plan itself. Okay. The how. Okay. And then the where to improve, right? Obviously that is getting real with ourselves, right? And we're going to have those kind of conversations, and it's okay. You can do this in the privacy of your own home. But yeah, I would take the time to get real about, hey, what am I good at? What am I not good at? Or what can't I count on myself to do? Historically, what have I said I'm going to do this, and pretty much know that I've never done it because it scares me, or for whatever reason, I just avoid it. That's where we need to get real with ourselves. Okay, cool. So we're going to take these step by steps. Hopefully you guys are ready. You got your handouts in front of you. Let's go. So number 1, first question, what do you want? What do you want? Right? I mean, millions of songs written about what do you want, right? So let's talk about that. And for the context of this presentation, when it comes to what we want, we're going to talk about money, right? I mean, that's just a simple thing for us to kind of start out with, right? Your financial goal. Okay. And anybody want to make more money, you can put amen, hallelujah, yes sir, whatever in the chat. Give me a high five, whatever that might be. Throw dollar signs in there. The little emoji guy with money coming out of his mouth. I don't know what that one is. I can never tell whether he's throwing up or whether that's money. But anyway, that's just me. So anybody want to make more money? Yes, we probably all do. So let's start with how much money you want to make, right? So get that business plan template, okay? And let's fill in that number, okay? And that could be whatever it is that you want, whatever that number, that goal, okay? And again, maybe you want to push yourself a little bit, right? Maybe you're like, well, I don't know, I'd be happy with 50,000. Well, yeah, so would the people at McDonald's, right? But you're a $300, $500, $800 an hour person. Is a $50,000, is that really a want, right? Is that really a goal, or is that really just sort of like, hey, I'll kind of stumble into this and I'm okay with it if it, again, this, we want to make sure that we're shooting for something. So maybe be a little bit aggressive with that, okay? And again, even though we're doing this in June, okay, it can still be a 12-month plan. That's fine. I mean, again, my focus is trying to make sure that we're having a great rest of the year. But you can multiply it out over a 12-month period of time, just to keep things simple. Okay. But you can kind of get an idea of, well, hey, this is where I would be, based on what my overall goal is on a 6-month period of time or a 12-month period of time. So just roll with me on that. So for the sake of just keeping things even, let's say your income goal is $100,000. Okay. So I'm going to use that as an example on the screen. You can do that if you're writing in pencil, you can erase it, or you can just, do it as an example copy, and then you can always print out another copy and do it with your own numbers later on, whatever you want to do. So anyway, gross commission income, $100,000. I thought that put that in there. I guess it didn't. Okay, I guess I didn't trigger that. All right, cool. Now let's get specific on where that income is going to come from, right? Whoops, hang on a second. It did. Hold on. Let me see what happened. Why did that? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out, this should, okay, this should, okay, all right, well, I'm gonna roll with it here, okay? I thought it was gonna fill in things for me. Maybe that's gonna be on the next one. Okay, let's talk about, as I said, where that income is gonna come from. And we're gonna get clear on how many transactions you need to hit that goal, right? That income goal, because that's a pretty simple way to do it, right? You got income, you just to figure out, okay, well, how many transactions is that going to be? So let's say you want to make $100,000 in 2020, right? And again, very possible, 6 months left, you could still do it. So for the sake of demonstration, we're going to divide it right down the middle and say that 50% of your revenue is going to come from sellers, from listings, and the other 50% is going to come from buyers. So let's start there. So starting with sellers, let's just use an average sale price. Again, this is going to vary for each one of us. So, as we talk about knowing what our numbers are, it's always good to know, hey, what's my average sale price been over the last, 12 months or whatever. Okay. So we're going to use an average of $250,000. Okay. And an average commission of 3%. Okay. Because again, let's just assume that we split it with, we're going to get a split. Obviously, you're going to have higher ones. You might even have lower ones that come through. But for the sake of argument, just we'll use 3%. Okay, buyer side gets 3, seller side gets 3. Anyway, at $250,000 with a commission of 3%, anybody can just right off the top of your head tell me what that gross commission is. Okay, anybody? I'm going to hold up my 3 fingers and say it's 3%. Or excuse me, it's 3%. $7,500. I don't have 7,500 fingers. So anyway. $7,500 commission on a $250,000 sale, being a 3% commission. Okay, so with this example, remember, if our goal is to make $100,000, we're dividing it 50-50, average commission of $7,500. How many listings now do you think we would have to sell to make half of that income, to make that $50,000 income, right? We'll divide that out, and you'll see, most of you, obviously we'll be right on this. You'll see that it's 7, right? 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, so you're pretty much right there. All right, let me see if I have that in my little mix there. Okay, let's see. Yes, see. Okay, so yeah, they're coming in. All right, 7. So okay, all right, cool, good. All right, so everybody's got that now. I know it doesn't show up nice and clean like that in real life all the time. All the even numbers, but again, this is going to be an interesting thing. Now, the missing number, right? The missing number was, if we sell 7 listing transactions, that means obviously we've taken 7 listings. Okay. But that missing number on the sheet looking down at your form is going to be what, right? It's how many listing appointments that you need to get to 7 sold transactions. Okay. So we're going to come back to that, because that's incredibly important when structuring, laying out your business. Okay, so 50% of your business. Okay, this is $50,000 into your $100,000 income goal. Okay, everybody with me so far? You can just kind of follow it right straight through. All right, cool. All right, it's going to take us 7 listings to get 7 seller transactions to produce that $50,000 in income. All right, now using the same numbers, the math becomes obvious then. Buyers on the other half of the equation, the 50%, right? If we made 50,000 so far, we need another 50,000 to hit our $100,000 goal. So average sale price being the same, let's say. So commission is the same, and how many transactions is that? Okay, same. But for this is for buyers. So now this is working with your buyer clients. Okay, here you go, same thing all the way across the board. 50% of your revenue, $250,000 sale price, $7,500 average commission on that sale at 3%, 7 buy-side transaction. But here we go, we have that unknown number again still, right? Okay, everybody should have a missing number on their page, and that's how many buyer appointments we need to get to 7 sold buyers as clients, right? You're going from big funnel to small funnel. Okay, see, what I don't know and what you need to know is what your conversion rate is. Okay, how many appointments, whether it's going to be sellers or buyers, lead to listing contracts or lead to buyer transactions, right? That's the number we need to know. So now, if you convert 90% of your listing appointments to contract, listen, achieving your goal becomes simple. Okay, it's just It's just simple math when you know what the percentage is. Okay, if it's 50%, if it's 30%, I know 90% is a crazy number. Okay, but again, maybe you're that good. But again, just once you know what that that conversion percentage is, you can drop that number in. So hopefully that's making sense, and you see kind of how easy it is to figure that out. All right, cool. Let's keep going here. All right. Here's a question. Do you get to keep 100% of the money you make? Anybody out there? And if you do, please let me know. Nobody does, right? I mean, nobody keeps 100%. Where's it go? Okay. Give me some answers in the chat. Where's your money go to? I mean, it goes to what? Advertising and it goes to subscriptions, and it goes to, right? I mean, all of that comes out of your gross commission income, right? So taxes, expenses, all that kind of stuff, right? Again, we start with that GCI, we pull out those expenses, and hopefully we're left over with what? We're profit, right? I mean, that's your net commission income. Now, of course, we want to be good stewards with our money, and we should be saving our money and reducing our debt, okay? So this particular section is left blank on purpose for you. It's homework, right? And if for whatever reason you guys, want to chat about this offline and talk about expenses and dial this in, if this doesn't make sense to you, I'd be glad to do that. But I'm pretty sure that you guys have kind of already doing this in your own to figure out kind of what your net commission income is going to be, and then obviously, maybe some thoughts about what we should be doing to build our wealth, right? Savings and debt reduction, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And we're going to get to an actual expense tracker in just a few minutes, but you need to fill this in for your own situation based on your own business expenses and so forth. And like I said, I'm going to give you a tool later on to do that. So hopefully, there's some cool stuff here that starting to get you to think and kind of go, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can kind of figure this out, because it all factors in. All right. But let's go back to our numbers. Remember, how many total buyer and seller transactions do we need to make $100,000? You remember that? Okay. If 50% were sellers and 50% were buyers, we're making 50,000 on sellers and 50,000 on buyers. Okay. Just again, simple math, keeping it split right down the middle. That was going to be 7 transactions each, right? 7 buy side, 7 sell side. Okay. So how many total transactions do I need then to make $100,000 based on that math? 7 plus 7 is 14. Correct. Okay. Now here's something interesting. The National Association of Realtors national average for converting a lead to a sale is approximately 1 to 2%, or 1 out of 40, right? Roughly right around 1 out of 40. Okay. So if we need 14 transactions, when we multiply 14 transactions times 40, right? 1 out of 40. Okay. We get what? 560. Okay. 560. Anyone know what 560 is? 560 is going to be the actual number of conversations, business focused conversations, or leads can factor, what are random leads that we need to have to get 14 transactions. Does that make sense? Again, it's just using the simple math. So stick with me, guys. It all works out in the end. So let's break that down even further. And let me see if I can get this thing to populate. Okay, there you go. Cool. All right. So let's give you some vacation time. Okay. I know that you guys are just workhorses and you just hate taking vacation, but let's assume that you work for a great boss called you, and your boss comes to you and says, you know what, you need to take a couple weeks off. Let's say maybe you need to take 4 weeks off this year. Okay, so let's assume that you work 48 weeks out of the year, and let's assume you don't work 7 days a week. I know that's that's funny, but anyway, let's say you only work 5. Okay, so you take Saturday and Sunday off, or you take Monday and Wednesday off, whatever it might be. It's family time. That's just the way you do it. You've set aside whatever, and that's good. Okay, so that's working 20 days per month over 11 months, right? Because we're literally taking 4 weeks off, 1 month off. Okay, so that all adds up to you needing 11.6 business conversations per week, or an average of 2.32 daily, conversations per day, business focused conversations per day. Okay. And you'll see on the screen there that, it kind of labels it as your hour of power, right? Your hour of power. Let me make sure that I didn't go too far here. Yeah, I did. Okay. So, and what that would be is your time blocking on your calendar, okay, to reach those daily conversations, okay, with people either that you do know or people that you don't know. You've got to have the daily quota of daily conversations to hit the weekly quota of conversations needed, right, to reach your annual quota. All right. So why is this so important to know your numbers? Okay. And who here came because you want to grow your business, you want to make more money, right? Anybody? Yes, obviously. Everybody did. So it's important to know your numbers, because if you're going to increase your income, there's only two ways to do it, right? I mean, let's not make this, SpaceX and rocket science, right? I mean, two ways. Number one, you got to talk to more people, or number two, you got to get better at converting the people you do talk to become clients of yours. Okay. I mean, again, there's really no secret sauce other than that. Okay. Talk to more people, convert more people you talk to. Okay. But it's so important to know your numbers. So if you want to make you may want to make $100,000 a year. Like here's what we said. You need to have nearly 560 conversations per year. Okay. So if you follow the math down like we've done, and you conduct this, you have those yearly conversations, that's going to equal 14 transactions. Okay. And that's going to give you your $100,000 in income. So it's it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Again, sort of just going over the high level, setting your numbers and all that kind of stuff. Right. So stick with me through that, and hopefully that makes sense. And if you haven't went down this road before, then again, hopefully this is giving you some insight as to how you just do a simple business plan. Okay. Have you ever seen it laid out simply like that with just that simple math? I mean, probably not. It's probably been, a lot more complicated just to figure out, okay, well, if I want to close this many deals, I've got to do this. This is what I have. These are the number of conversations I have to have. So again, I'm glad you stuck with me through that, but it's going to be unique to your own situation, right? If it's not $100,000, if it's $80,000, maybe it's $200,000, you're a rock star. Maybe you want to go to 300,000, again, you just adjust accordingly, but the numbers all play out. Okay. So that's one step, right? Is the income, right? Now we're going to come back and into income and all that stuff. But here's step number 2. Okay. Once we know our income, what our income goal is that enough? No, it's not enough, right? The real question is your why. Okay. When your why is big enough, you're going to find your how. Okay. So why do you want to make that much money? Again, as we think about whatever that income goal is you have, and again, maybe the money's not important to you, but again, for the sake of our discussion, we're gonna use that as our kind of our goal. Why is it important for you to hit that goal? Okay, what is your why? Okay, think about this. When your why is strong enough, you're gonna break down walls, you're gonna crawl over broken glass, you're gonna do whatever you have to achieve your goal. Okay, who's counting on you to achieve your goals? Okay, you have family, you have kids, little kids that you're taking care of. You have parents, aging parents that financially you contribute to their support. Again, who's counting on you, right? Let's walk through a little exercise to get you knowing your why. Okay, let's get some clarity on that. So get that outline back out, take a moment, and here's what we want to do. We want to let your first impulse be what you put in those dots. So by each one of those dots, and maybe you don't have 10 whys, as many as you can come up with. Here's my why, right? This is going to be my best year ever because why? Okay. And here's where I'm going to do that. Okay. Because of my mom, because of my kids, because of, I want to do this, I want to do that. Right. Let's see. Maybe a vacation, maybe a college, maybe you're funding college for your kids. I want to save, my goal is to save, $11,000 this year for my kids' college fund or whatever it might be, or my goal is to contribute this much to my retirement, to max out my retirement contributions, to take that, vacation to Italy once everything opens back up, whatever it may be. Maybe it's charity, right? Maybe it's giving more. Okay. again, all of this, green, paper money means nothing, right? Money means nothing, right? It really, in the long run, it's about what money can do for you. Okay. It's a tool that allows you to experience life, to be generous, to help others, to improve a situation that you could step into. So again, if I succeed, well, I have a better life for my family, right? My spouse is able to work, fewer hours. Okay. Maybe debt reduction. Now think about it in another sense, right? If I fail, what happens? What happens if I don't achieve my goal, right? Who's that going to impact? Is that going to impact just me, my family? What would happen if you didn't make you whatever your income goal was for the year? Okay, your family might be disappointed, right? I mean, that's a possibility. Obviously, if you're involved with charities, you might not be able to help there, as much as you wanted to. Okay, and how would that make you feel, right? I mean, how would that make you feel if you did fail? And I guess I would encourage you to use that as just a kind of a thought motivator, right? To encourage you. Again, if your why is strong enough, you'll work the extra hours, you'll do what you need to do. You won't tire, when you have your why in front of you. Okay. So again, guys, this is really an exercise. I'm not going to, don't want you to, we're not going to dive too deep into that right now. Just again, revisit it later with yourself, spend some time on it, get some quiet time, and just really fill out your why. Okay. And you can use that blank template we've got, and we've got a digital version as well if you want that. Okay. But anyway, look, having your income goals up is great, right? We've got that, and I'm sure that everybody would agree that knowing your why is more important than just having a number, right? So let's move on. Once we know what our number is and we've got our why, the next one thing we want to know, is we need a plan, right? I mean, that's what we need, right? You can't wing it. You remember the example I gave you, right? The plane flying from LA to New York, right? They need they need a plan. They need to chart out the course in the autopilot, and they just can't get up there and go, I don't know, it just looks good that way, let's go that way. They need a map, right? So again, that's what I'm going to help you do. I'm going to be your guide and help you succeed in that. And we can talk about, different things that maybe we need to revisit, and you'll be able to kind of reflect off of that as the year has progressed and the changes that we may need to make. Okay. So first starts with how many of you guys have been in business at least 12 months. Okay. Now, maybe some of you guys are brand new agents. I don't know, just trying to get a sense of what we're talking about here. Anyway, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it might be. Okay. But here's the important thing. You need a plan, and past performance can be an indicator of future performance, right? And that's really the only thing we have to work off of, is just to say, well, this is what happened in the past and this is kind of what it looked like. So let's use that as sort of a baseline. But as I said, things change, right? And we need to kind of just be aware, as with regular check-ins on our business plan, hey, is my average sale what it is? Hey, have I made the required number of calls, to stay up with my goal and all that kind of stuff, or have things changed to where I can't? And getting into the whole coronavirus issue, obviously, people who may have been planning to buy or sell probably went on the sideline, right? And so we had to change, and we talked about that way early on. I did a class called Your Next 90 Days, and we talked about how we were going to have to change in the next 90 days moving forward, because what we were thinking was going to work wasn't going to work, right? We had to approach people differently, okay? And really the best thing we could do for people over the last 3 months, and to be perfectly honest, I think it still remains true, is we have to offer them value and connection and context as to what's going on, right? We have to offer them, and by doing so, you're going to give them confidence, right? Everybody's worried about housing prices. Everybody's worried about the interest rates. Everybody's worried about market availability, all that kind of stuff. You can educate and should be educating your clients using your CRM, with regular emails, drip campaign, whatever it might be. You can do text messages using an app called Reach, and you can send out text messages to a whole bunch of people. You can send the same message out just to a customer saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hope you guys are doing well. Would love to catch up soon, over a phone call. But again, it's that connection. And it's just bringing a lot of value right now. And as I said, giving them some context and some content through all this, just so they kind of know what's going on, what we're seeing on the ground. Because especially if you've got out of town buyers, they really don't get a sense of what's going on. So they need you just to tell them. And trust me, they will come back. They're going to come back into the market. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we may not be actually knocking down the number of sales this month because of what happened over the last 2 or 3 months, but there's a lot of pent up demand, and it's yours to lose. So we've got to stay in touch with those people. We've got to, as I said, they may not buy this month, but there's still 6 months left in the year that they potentially could buy. So we have to almost push through that. Like, you know what, we've just had to do business a little bit differently. Yeah, sales might have been down last month or the month before, but there's a darn good chance if I do what I'm supposed to do, those sales will come back to me, and I'll still get those sales before the end of the year. Okay, and that should be our focus. So anyway, just kind of wanted to talk about that. All right. So why can we use our past sources of business as predictors of future success? Okay, because we see some patterns, right? Okay, what percentage of your business came from your sphere of influence? Okay, or your COI, your center of influence, SOI, SCOI, whatever. Okay, past clients, right? It's past clients, referrals, people people who know you, right? And there's some interesting stats I want to share with you from NAR on sphere of influence. According to NAR, 52% of buyers used an agent based on a referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative. 12% of buyers used an agent that they worked with before. 64% used an agent from a referral or used an agent that they worked with before to buy or sell. Interestingly, 8% of home sales were FSBOs. Okay, so why do I give you all those stats around past clients and center of influence or sphere of influence? That's where the bulk of business is coming from, according to NAR, right? I mean, look at this little chart here, okay? It far outweighs the other 4 types of business sources, okay? So what about you? Mapping out your good business plan and sources of business and how you're going to succeed and hit your number this year. Would it make sense to identify that if the bulk of your business came from past clients or your sphere of influence, maybe that's the area that you should focus on? Yeah, right? I mean, absolutely. Okay, let's take a look a little bit further. According to NAR, only 8% of the homes of home sales were FSBOs, only 8%. Okay, so there's even some opportunities there for some of you who want to go after FSBOs and expired. Okay, the other cool thing, 74% of buyers only interviewed one real estate agent during their home search, and 72% only contacted one agent. Okay, so all these are in the NAR stats. You can get this from the NAR Buyer and Home Sellers Report, and that's published annually, I believe. But anyway, I share this with you just to give you some focus, right? Again, we tried it. We're like, oh, I got to do signs. I got to do open houses. I got to do onlines. Let's figure out, when it comes to your business plan, where is your business coming from over the last 12 months? And that's the area we want to focus on. Okay. Right. I mean, online, yes, it's growing. Okay. Everybody's going online to find first homes, and we need to have a presence there. Okay. We need to make sure we're mobile friendly and all that kind of stuff. But how they choose an agent isn't necessarily always directly from just online. Okay. The bulk of how people choose an agent is a sphere of influence. Now, yes, we can use online. We can use our social media to enhance connection in our sphere of influence, right? Hey, they may not be ready to buy or sell, but hey, you know what? My friend, they post this all the time. You need to call them, right? So you can get referrals based on the viral effect of social media. Okay. But again, past clients, families, friends, referrals, that's where the action is at, according to NAR. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. As I mentioned, now there's a blank template in your packet. What did I just say? A blank template? I don't even know what I just said there. There's a blank template in your packet. So you can write down where your business came from last year. Okay. And if you're brand new, you want to start tracking this right now. Okay. So just come up with a spreadsheet, come up with some way of knowing where all your referrals that actually converted into sales came from. Okay. So that next year you can look at this and say, okay, here's what my numbers are. Okay. So let's look at your main source well, as you look at your main source of business, let's look at I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. I've included a handout for you guys to review in here, right? Okay. It's going to be in there, but there's a template where you guys can actually start writing these numbers down and keeping track so that you can just fill in the blanks next year. Okay. So let's take a look now where our source of area of business, what area of our business we need to improve in. Okay. And this is the time where, like I said before, this is, we got to get real with ourselves here, right? Where do we need to improve? What things are we good at? What things are we, not good at or avoiding, right? And if you're like me, you probably got some opportunities for improvement, right? I think we all do. So let's look at the main source of business again. Okay. Past clients, sphere of influence. Okay. Signs, online, open houses, or expired FSBOs. Okay. Now, depending on your marketing plan, maybe expireds or FSBOs are not your thing. Okay. I just did a class on how to find more sellers about 2 weeks ago, where we take a deep dive into multiple sources of sellers. I think, Nikki, you might have a copy of that presentation. And if you don't, or you want a copy of that, just email me separately and I'll shoot you a link to the recording of that class. So you'll have that and you can review that. But anyway, very, very cool class that talks about where we can get business from. Yeah.
The title was
how to find more. I think it was how to find more sellers in a low inventory market.
Yes. I'll write that down.
Okay. Like I said, I can email that out, or whatever. So anyway, let's go back. Let's see. So, what do I want to say here? Here is, anyway, basically main sources of business. We've got, right, past clients, all that kind of stuff. The question is, which of those areas do you need to get better at? Okay. Where are you going to double down? Where do you really, where are you going to focus on? Okay. What are those areas that you need to improve? Okay. So jump into your outline again, and take a moment and just do a real quick self-assessment on an area, on the areas that you want to improve. Okay. And you can get real, right? I mean, nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's going to see this, but you and the cat. So again, if it's an excellent area, then gosh darn it, check excellent. Okay. If it's not, then okay, it's not. And there's no right or wrong answer. You're not getting graded here. This is a place where you can really just kind of say, all right, you know what, I could do better here. Okay. How would you rank yourself in lead generation, right? How about lead conversion? Right? Remember, 1 out of 40 is pretty much the national average. Okay. You want to have less conversations, then obviously we need to get better at converting, right? We need to develop a better script, or we need to, have a better tracking tactic to have more conversations, or in a different way, maybe using, social media, maybe using video, shooting videos to reach out to people, and converse with them, just a quick video. Hey guys, how you doing? Whatever. Hey, Mr. Mrs. Smith, I just want to let you know I'm in the neighborhood that you're looking at the home at, and that we talked about. It's just a great day out here, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, it's something different, right? That may increase your conversion rate with that buyer. Okay. How about keep taking time for yourself to stay healthy? Okay. And again, this is just really for personal awareness and to give you some focus on where to get started. Okay. You can revisit it later, but I just wanted to have you take a moment and have you guys identify some areas that you might have some room to improve. Okay. And I appreciate you being honest with yourself, right? Because that's only going to help you. So here's the deal. Many agents, are going to say, and I'm sure you guys are no different, that you could do a better job of lead generation and conversion, right? So here we see examples of lead sources, okay, ways to lead generate, and then how to convert those leads. Now, there's 3 important things to know about leads. Number 1, where will you get them? Okay, and we can see some examples here. We got past clients, we got builders, got for sale by owner, all that kind of stuff, expireds. Okay, next step is lead generation. Okay, how will you engage with them? Bulk mail, radio ads, hello. Email, social media, right? Texting, all that sort of stuff. Okay. Open houses, whatever it might be. And the last question is, what's your process then for converting 1 out of 40 conversations to a transaction? Okay. And so again, we might be, like I said, it might be text messaging, voicemails, video message, right? Using BombBomb to send out a video email, video emails. Maybe it's an in-person meeting. Maybe it's using Zoom, and trying to really drive your customer, to do Zoom meetings with you, so that you're getting that face-to-face more personal interaction right now if they're reticent to come out, you know, in public or meet with you in person. And maybe you're cautious about that, you know, for good reason. So again, there's that, you know, social media, as I said, you know, dropping a personal note to them, you know, hey, it was great talking to you the other day. I appreciate, you know, whatever, something about you, happy birthday, or whatever it might be, you know, hope your fishing trip went well, whatever it might be, you know, look forward to connecting with you. Again, I mean, you can set a goal. This is just a little side piece, but you can literally set a goal of writing, you know, 3 personal notes a day, you know, just a little note card, and just sending out 3 to 5 personal note cards a day, to people, to clients that you're working with, customers right now, to past clients, you know, whatever it might be. Hey, thinking about you, whatever, you know, so, you know, again, it's different, right? Not everybody's doing it. Okay. So again, it's again, trying to get you guys some awareness of, you know, of number one, what your main lead source is going to be, how you're going to engage with them. Right. And knowing the who, the how, right? The how, if you will, the who, the what, and the how. Okay. So let's take it a step further. If you don't know where you're going, guess where you're going to end up? You're going to end up someplace else. Okay. So here's an example of a simple business plan that you guys, I've included for you that you can utilize, right? It's called the 135 business plan. Really, really simple stuff. Okay. Basically it's one goal, and 5 objectives and 3 activities that you can do. Okay. So again, let's look at it. We've got an objective, right? An annual, the one objective, it's an annual goal, and it's 36 closings. Okay. Now let's look at the categories in terms of the 5 objections for that goal. Okay. I'm not objections, objectives. Okay. What do you got? You know, improving your online presence, lead generation, circle of influence, you know, so on and so forth. What else you got? Dedicated landing page, 3 training courses. Okay. You know, whatever you got all that, right? Lead, you know, again, under lead generation, lead generate every morning. There's your power hour, right? Your power hours. Meet with an accountability partner every week to hold me accountable to my goals, right? I mean, that's kind of an objective to make sure that you know, you're focusing, right? Being consistent and disciplined on my calendar, time blocking for lead gen, you know, obtaining 3 new listings, 3 buyer contracts, and 3 closed transactions per month, right? I mean, that's a pretty good goal, right? I mean, you know, pretty solid goal there. Okay. Get those testimonials, right? Maybe that's an objective that you can post online as reviews, right? To build your brand. We talked about that in our branding class. You know, there's the COI database. Look all the way down the bottom there where it says handwritten thank you notes, past, you know, circle of influence, past clients, affiliates, all that kind of stuff, right? So just an example, right? Hopefully, is this sparking anybody's thinking as we're talking about that? Just a very simple 135 business plan. Okay. So hopefully that's giving you something. Okay. When it comes to lead gen, the first thing we need to identify is what our lead source is. Okay. What's the target audience? And of course, you know, you may have more than one, and that's okay. First time home buyers is a target, luxury home buyers, and we've talked about that in other classes. So whatever your target audience is, and as we've talked about in other classes, it shouldn't be everyone, right? Because you can't be everything to everyone. You need to kind of drill down, you know, on 1 or 2 or 3 different targets at the most. And be very clear and very specific with them. Anyway, in the exercise here, the goal is to get clear on the activities and plan for generating leads from that specific target audience. Okay, what are you going to do to reach them? How do you engage them? What's your plan for nurturing and converting, right? Because nurturing has to come before the converting piece. All of these would be the things that you fill in on this particular page. Okay, so I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You just drop in the target audience and then answer the question, what are you going to do? Okay, here's an example of a plan that's mapped out for you. Again, you can see that you know, on your blank template, you can do what you want. But let's say you're going to engage in geographic farming, right? So your target geographic farm, here's where it is, right? Rolling Mills Estates. You know, how many homes? 500 residences. How are you going to generate leads from that target? Okay, boom, here it is. Here's my marketing plan. Here's my networking plan. Here's my prospecting plan. Okay. So again, you've got open houses, you know, Facebook ads, community events, things like that. Okay, does that make sense? Again, pretty simple. The whole purpose of this is we're just trying to show you that you know, this is how actual activities are written and mapped out. And this is what we need to go back to right now, as I said, in light of being June, you know, 9th of 2020, and figure out, okay, is our marketing plan, networking plan, and prospecting plan still working, still applying, you know, in the situation, in the environment that we're in right now, or do I have to tweak my marketing plan, my networking plan, or my prospecting plan to make it work better? Okay, to do some things differently. Okay, again, if it was open houses, if you were going to do right, you got 24 open houses. How many people have done 24 open houses in the last 3 months? I mean, nobody, right? So clearly, huge missing gap in this marketing plan. If this were your marketing plan, you know, to do so, right? I mean, obviously, that's something you have to change, you have to pivot, because that's just not happening right now. Okay, but here's the deal: is having this mapped out enough, right? This big picture, you know, of your target audience and how you're going to plan. Is that enough to have you, right, or have you succeed? No. What you got to take action, right? You got to schedule your activities. Top producers live by the saying that if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. So you've got to have this stuff on your calendar. Okay. Anybody here do time blocking? Okay. I'd say ask for a show of hands, but again, I'm just going to trust you on this. If you're not doing time blocking, you should be doing time blocking. Okay. Now, this is more like a macro view of your activities over 12 months. Okay. And you guys should have that in your packet, something that looks a little similar to this. Okay. If you wanted to map out like the big activities that you would need to be doing and chart those out over the course of each month, over 12 months, this is something you do, right? Like this, right? COI, circle of influence, center of influence, whatever. SOI, sphere of influence. They mean the same thing. Okay. But again, you can see this is just in general. Here's my start date. Here's my due date, right? This is my plan over the course of, well, here you've got primarily January, and here's my plan for January. But you could have one of these for every single month. What marketing am I going to do? What's my reach going to be, and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to get all kind of crazy and fill all this stuff out, but it does help, I think, obviously with budgeting and knowing kind of what that's going to be, right? And also having a metric to measure, that's always good as well. So as you're thinking through this stuff, you may find it easier. You may find it easy just to fill out, this stuff and complete all this. But again, I think the important thing is just making sure that it's scheduled and that you're sticking with your schedule and adjusting as need be, right? I mean, I could very well see how this would have to have changed as our market has shifted in the last 3 months. Okay, but like I said, the top producers say what gets scheduled gets done. So once you know your targets, you need to map out your ideal weekly activity. Okay, this is your week at a glance, and my recommendation is that you create a time block for the high priority tasks. Okay, so look at this as kind of an optimal week, right? Because again, weeks change, right? You might get a call from a buyer, hey, we're in town, can we go look at that house, whatever, and you may have to shift and change. But again, optimally speaking, here you go. Here's, you got your workout first thing in the morning, then you got family time with the kids, get them taken care of, whatever's going on there. Maybe you boom, in the office, you're making your calls, all that sort of stuff, right? You can kind of see how this lays out. And you probably want to have both personal and business in here because, again, personal is, you have to plan around that too, right? Top producers, highly productive people, man, they all schedule their time, okay? So if it ain't on the calendar, it doesn't exist. And hopefully you guys are with me on that, okay? So again, you guys all have forms like this. It's pretty simple stuff, but maybe just, again, to be able to formulate some ideas and to tighten some things up, it would be a helpful template for you to use, okay? But here's the deal. A goal without a plan is what? It's a wish, right? I mean, so again, we're not going to achieve our goals without a plan. We got to have a plan that really literally comes down to a day-to-day, almost hour by hour plan. All right. So you've got your week at a glance. Now you've got your daily schedule planner that we're going to work out. Anybody use a daily schedule planner or something like that? Okay. Well, here you go. Hopefully this is just, again, in your packet, something that you guys can use on a daily basis to get your thoughts together. Okay. If you don't have another type of a planner that you use. But anyway, here's what your optimal day looks like. Okay. And you can structure this and use it to focus your day. So hopefully that makes sense. Take the examples, the ideas, and just apply them to your specific calendar or planning tool. But the bottom line is you got to take control, right? You got to take control of your money. You got to take control of your time, or each will control you, right? So we want to make sure that we're in control of that stuff. Remember, we talked about gross commissions minus what? What do we have? Right? I mean, it's expenses, right? I'm pointing to this here on the screen with my little clicker here, the big word expenses there up at the top. So this is your homework, right? Take some time over the next couple weeks and just write down all your expenses. And I would do both business and personal. Okay, this particular one is professional, and you can always add stuff in here as you need to if it's not covered. And again, these are professional expenses. If you're not charging your water bill off to your business, then don't put a number in there for that. But you get what I'm saying. Anyway, there's expenses, right? Calendar year monthly, calendar year annually, fiscal year monthly, fiscal year annual, whatever, however you do your accounting. Again, maybe two different ways, but you got to get your expenses under control. Okay. And you'll have more profit then to grow your business if you know how much is going out, right? So again, another true saying from Mr. Dave Ramsey: you must gain control over your money, or your money will control you. Okay, and here's another one: it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Right? Exactly. So here's the one for your personal, and again, you can add stuff into that as well. It's important to know, right? Because again, you make $7,500 in a sale, and you don't keep all that. It's important to know how much you do keep, so you can budget for marketing, for savings, for debt reduction, all of that stuff. We can go back to that form that we looked at the beginning: gross commission minus expenses equals profit. And then you've got the wealth building, right? How much you're going to put towards savings and how much you're going to put towards debt reduction. So there's a couple good tools for you. Okay. So again, for 2020, where we're at right now, hopefully, we've kind of covered not only what we need to do to update, to build our business plan, if we haven't done that, and then update it, some things we need to think about to update it, but also things that we may need to think about as to how we can keep our business going and firing on all cylinders for the balance of 2020. Like I said, it comes down right now to changing the way we're communicating. Okay, using digital technology, getting in front of people, making sure you're staying on people's radar, because a lot of people have pushed pause right now. The market's getting tight, inventory is getting low, prices are going up, so it can be a little bit crazy, but a lot of people are still on the sidelines. And so what we have to do is we have to communicate differently with them and provide that context and the confidence for them to move forward at some point, in the months ahead. And like I said, my feeling is a lot of them are going to come back into the market before the end of the year as things settle down. So again, what we want to be is we don't want to be the realtor that they've worked with for 6 months and then they haven't heard from us for 3. And then they end up deciding to just, you end up hearing that they bought from another agent. And so definitely right now, I think our biggest change is communications. We need to be communicating we need to know where all our buyers and sellers are in the process. Okay. We've talked about that. And I talked about that in my 90-day class. We need to know if they're 1 month to 3 months, 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to a year, or 12 months plus, based on what they're telling us and what we've heard. And if you don't know, that's good. That's probably a good thing to reach out to them and say, hey, so just kind of wondering, what's your time frame look like? And get that information. But then you can speak to them and address them, address their concerns specific to their timeline. Because again, we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Fannie Freddie have predicted a lower interest rate environment in the months ahead. They haven't been real specific about when that's going to be. But as the economic recovery drags out from the coronavirus, there's a lot of things that have to happen for people to get back into the market, just in general. Not speaking necessarily about the real estate market, but just feeling comfortable going out to dinner. Shopping at big box stores, going to sporting events firing back up. So there's a lot of things that I think have to happen in relation to the health side of it that are going to have to happen before people really start getting back into the market and spending money and doing all this other stuff. And as a result, we're probably going to see the Fed have to take some more actions as far as stimulus and potentially even doing some things that may lower the interest rate. So I think that's where Fannie and Freddie are kind of getting their prediction from. So it's going to get busy, folks. But right now is where we have to, as I said, look at our business plan, figure out what isn't going to work right now. Like I said, open houses, if you're planning on doing 24 of them, in June, that's probably not going to happen yet. So what are we going to do to make up for that? Can we do a virtual open house and post it on Facebook? Can we shoot a video from, a real short video from a home that you have listed and send that out to our buyer clients that we think it might fit their criteria? So there's a bunch of different ideas like that. And I'd be glad to talk to any of you guys offline about this. If you have any questions and want to drill down specific to your situation, hey, this is what I had. I don't really know what to do quite yet. We didn't really drill down and cover that in our conversation. I'd be glad to walk through that with you. But it's really about, again, just knowing where you are and knowing what we need to change up a little bit here halfway through the year on our business plan, so that the rest of the year, we crush the rest of the year, and we're set up to have a great first and second quarter of 2021. So again, if you need help on any of those areas, let me know. I talked about reaching out and staying in contact with your people. If you don't have a CRM that you're using, you're missing out. We do have a free CRM that we offer you guys. You can send out all sorts of really cool stuff, co-branded emails. You can do lead tracking, lead nurturing. There's websites in there, social media marketing, all that kind of stuff. There's a CMA lead capture that you can put. You can grab the code for that and share that over social media. All sorts of really cool stuff in there. There's single property websites if you do have listings. Again, that's a great way, especially if maybe one of your listings has slowed a little bit. And you don't have a single property website, you can jump in and create a single property website. That keeps your seller happy with the fact that you're doing all sorts of anything you can to keep their property on people's minds. It creates a little link that then they can share on social media, just like you can share and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool. You can do that all inside of our CRM, Total Expert. You can do open house lead capture apps for when we start doing open houses again, that will actually drop those open house attendees into your CRM, and you can start doing a drip campaign for them. It's co-branded with me. You can share leads with me on that. There's, like I said, that automated follow-up where they get an email automatically. Again, it puts them in your system, and now you can start nurturing and tracking them. And I know you guys know our system here. We just do things a little bit differently. We have a pretty fast process where we upfront underwrite all our files. So as soon as that file that you send us with a buyer client, as soon as that contract gets submitted, our underwriter has a 6-hour goal to underwrite that file up front, and then we start working on the processing on the back end. And if you guys know anything about the mortgage industry, these two things are flipped, right? Most of the time people will go through all the iterations of processing and pulling documents and doing all sorts of stuff, and it takes them 2 to 3 weeks to do that. And then it goes to the underwriter, and then the underwriter comes back and says, this is wrong, I can't use this. Oh, wow, you didn't tell me they had this, we can't do this loan. That's when it blows up, right? But for us, we actually underwrite up on the front end. So that helps you guys close more deals than you would with other folks. And then we have a 24-hour turnaround after that. So 90% of our loan files are cleared to close. Last month, over 90% were cleared to close almost 9 days prior to the contract closing date. So as you can see, we're getting them done early as well. So anyway, that's enough of a commercial from me, because I know that you just want to see the picture of the handsome guy. So there he is. Yes, thank you. But it's so good to be with you guys. Here's my contact info. If you have any questions on this business planning stuff or revisiting your business plan, please let me know. Again, we don't plan to fail. We fail to plan. And so if I can help you with that in any way, I want to make sure I do that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can take some questions. If anybody's got any questions.
Right? This has been a quiet group. Not a single question has popped up.
Come on. Nobody even wants to know where I got this really cool movement.
Ooh, with the Nike swipe.
Nike, yeah.
Nice.
Right? Yep. Yeah, it's movement swag all over this place. You know,
You guys have the best swag ever.
I know. I just got this hat too. It's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And this is kind of cool too, you guys. Our company sent these out so that if we didn't have a mask, they sent out it's like a thingy that we could fold up and make a mask. They gave us little ear hooks with it and stuff like that. So yeah, they're really cool. So
sweet.
Yeah. My company loves and values us too.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So, all right, let me see. What do we got? Anything in the chat at all? What do we got here?
0 questions. That's so interesting.
560 conversations. Yeah. Hello, I see that. You can see how the math, right, works, guys, right? I mean, definitely you can see that. It's just simple math. And so I think using those tools, to start with the big number and then divide things out gets, you can see very simply, it gets you there, right?
It's like watching a kid at Christmas.
What's that? Oh, with all my stuff?
With all your swag.
I know. My wife kills me because I order like way more than I should. So it's like,
Linda's interested in the CRM.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, we can, so Linda, what I'll do is, Nikki will send me your contact info and then I will email you an invitation, if you will. Okay. And then that way, all you have to do is jump on and you create an account. If you put your information in there and your picture and your company logo and you put your MLS, IDX and all that kind of stuff in there. And then, then basically anything that you do, all that stuff imports in is kind of your signature. And so it's got all your stuff on it and yeah, you'll be all set and ready to go.
Well, if the CRM is anything indicative of what I've seen Movement putting together already through all of their classes and training and swag, I think it would be very beneficial for agents to sign up.
Yeah, you need to use something. You need to use something, guys. That's the big thing. And a spreadsheet is not going to do it. Notes, whatever, your contacts in your phone, that's not going to do it. You need something that will help you, track conversations. It will give you reminders. It will send you email reminders. It will automatically email people depending on, like I said, where they're at in their process. You can create drip campaigns to stay in, and a lot of it, again, it's sending stuff, making sure that you're staying in contact with people. And it's not stuff that you have to sit down every day and type the message and send an email to, 560 people in your sphere of influence. You're setting your CRM up to do a lot of that work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot of automations.
Yeah, a lot of automations.
Scheduling.
Yep, exactly. So again, all that stuff is in there, and then again, you can create tasks. So like right now, I use the same system, and I create tasks for a certain thing to do, and then I assign that to people, and then on my every day when I come in, I just go to my task list and I filter it by the day, and then it'll tell me who I've got to call and what reason, what's the purpose of my calling them. And then when I do that, I just click on their name and it takes me to their particular page. And then I can type in my contact notes and I can set up, follow-up dates, or, you can do everything. So it's really cool stuff. But you got to use something. You can't get that type of performance out of a spreadsheet. And the contacts that you put in there, number one, if you have contacts on a spreadsheet, name, address, phone number, email, all that kind of stuff, that's fine. You can actually slide that file over once you open up, create your account and open up your homepage. There's a little blue chat button. You can slide that Excel file over, and the folks at Total Expert will actually upload those contacts for you. So you don't even have to sit there and do the manual upload of your existing contacts. So that's a really, really cool thing as well. So you can be up and running on those folks, and you can export those contacts later if you decide, hey, I want to start using Top Producer, or I want to use a different CRM program that I want to pay for, right? This CRM, the one we're offering you, is free. There's others out there, but they cost money. Top Agent, I think, or Agent 360, Top Producer. There's a bunch of them. But again, you can export your contacts you have in Total Expert. You can export those out, and they can upload them in whatever. So they belong to you. They don't belong, the contacts aren't going to be like, oh crap, I can't get them out. They're in there now, I can't get them out. No, you can export them. And so use something. That's, I guess, my point. If you're not using anything right now, use this. Make it work for you until you get to the point where you're like, I'm a CRM wizard. This isn't going to do what I want it to do.
Right.
Fine, but use something right now.
All right, I am gonna really quickly just throw up this closing poll, but we do have another question.
Yeah.
And that is from Linda, is also asking, sounds good, and how do I do a virtual open house?
So virtual open houses are a really, really cool thing to do. And there's a couple different ways that you could do them, but I think probably the simplest way to reach the most number of people is to do a Facebook Live event. Because again, now you're not specific to people signing up and doing all this other, all these other iterations just to become a part of it, like doing it on Zoom or something like that. So I would probably just do a Facebook Live event. And you could publicize that event in advance. Yeah, you can publicize in advance by putting a post out. Hey, I'm going to be doing a live open house, from 2 to 4 on Saturday the 13th, and here's the address, and here's some things that I think you'll find interesting about the property. And maybe, again, you just highlight a couple things in there. Would love to have you join me, whatever, ask questions, etc. So yeah, you could put that out there. I mean, again, if you were going to have, whatever, if you're going to have me there, quote unquote, or you're going to have an insurance agent there, quote unquote, or whatever, or whoever's on your team, you could tag them in the post, and then those people would probably share it I would share it on my social media. But then you could go live that day. And again, just do what you do, right? And maybe you do the virtual open house. If you're not going to actually do a public open house, maybe you just do the virtual open house, and maybe it's only 30 minutes, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be full, a 2-hour Facebook Live thing, right? It can be, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but just give people a tour, just like you normally would, like you're taking somebody around the house. You're pointing out the special characteristics of it, features, whatever it might be. And as you're going, you're just answering people's questions. You're just watching, you're just literally watching your phone, you're doing your thing. People's questions are coming up, and you're like, yeah, hey, yeah, it's, thanks for the question, Mary. It's 3,500 square feet under air, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, I mean, you're just walking, you're having a conversation, so really, really cool stuff. Very easy to do.
Yes. And Agnes is also asking for the CRM, so I will make sure that Larry gets your information. Agnes. Okay, so the poll is up there. I still have a couple of people that have not answered. If you can answer that, I'm gonna take that down in a second, but right now we're having nothing but great responses. 100% have said positive results. They found it valuable. They learned something they can apply right away, and their questions were answered. So we love that.
Okay. All right, good. I'll throw out there that I'm doing this class again on Thursday at 2:00. If I posted it on in Premier's Facebook page. So if you're a part of Premier's Facebook page, you can click on there and register. If you wanted to go through it again, you know, and or if you didn't have a chance to print off your form and you want to you know, sit through it again, you're more than welcome to. Just register for that. But that's on Facebook, Premier's Facebook. If you're not a part of Premier's Facebook group, shame on you. You need to be. So make sure that you find out about that, because there's always a ton of cool stuff in there on a daily basis. So you know, you don't. You talk about fear of missing out. You should have FOMO if you're not a part of that.
That's awesome. Okay. We actually do send out the link for you to request to join that whenever we send out our weekly updates. So if you have not yet, click on that link in your email. Thanks, Larry, so much.
You're welcome.
So helpful. And things are looking up. Everything is just getting better from this point forward. So all of our stats are going to start getting better. The inventory is already up. So we're looking at a great second half to 2020.
Yeah.
So we have our sales meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. and it is in Zoom. We do need you to register for that. It is called an Overcomer event. We've got great people lined up to talk about what they did and why they succeeded through these obstacles that we all faced together. And so hopefully you'll join with us. We'll have some familiar faces, but also some new faces. And one of our pretty successful team leads, Mark Washburn, is joining us to share. So please sign up for that. That was in your inbox on Monday, and you're going to get it again Thursday morning, but hopefully you've already signed up for that. And as far as June goes, we're still in Zoom. As far as July goes, we'll let you know when we know more about when we can start meeting in person. We're looking forward to that day. So thanks, Larry, for your time. We appreciate it so much. It's so valuable. You all will get a link to this recording so that you can rewatch again and get your plan in motion. So we're looking forward to hearing great results from you as after this is in operation and you are putting it to work. So thanks, guys. Have a great day.